Yeah, so one of the things it said was either zinc deficiency or zinc overload. Gentlemen, Jeff Kelly,
Oh,
Margin,
Guys,
Tom,
What's up?
how's
How are y'all
everyone's day
doing?
going?
Good.
good.
Yo, what's everybody up to today? How's everybody feeling? The sun out where you guys are at? Jeff, is it finally snowing again since it was 90 last week? It makes sense that if Pennsylvania's night, Idaho has to be shit.
Somebody somewhere in Idaho, it's snowing. I guarantee that.
Somewhere, someplace, people are skiing in Idaho.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Pennsylvania, but I'm pretty much as north as you can go besides Erie. So if we ain't got it, no one's got it. Mr. Tom knows about that PA. Yeah, dude, I forgot they even moved this call. I was a little confused. I was eating a sub after the gym and I got that reminder. I was like, oh shit. Good thing I went to the gym early today. I found my new time. All I have to deal with is the grandmas, which I like the grandmas at the gym. They're always so nice. They come there in like not workout clothes or in their like their jeans and stuff, and they're looking all nice and like they're just happy to be there and they're wiping everything down, like every inch of that machine that they touched, and they're just so wholesome. I love them.
Oh yeah.
The grandmas go early?
Apparently lunchtime is their time. So now I found out the time so I don't have to deal with everybody else, which are not bad people. I like them, but a lot of campers in the afternoon, if you know what I mean. A lot of kids who want to camp. I ain't got time for camping.
I think I know what that means.
Just hogging machines, man.
Yep.
They run it. They run in packs. It's like I've never seen one alone. They run in packs.
Yeah. And they sit there.
Oh, dude, they shoot the shit.
Yeah.
They shoot the shit.
The shitty thing about the gym that I go to is that they only have one like proper but it's not a machine, but one proper barbell bench, and someone is always on it, you know, and it's usually also one of those people that just like keeps going and going, and you're like, dude, when do you stop using that thing?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a good barbell bench going in weeks. Not that I've had them in my program, but still, the thought that it's so difficult to do once I do want to do them again, it's just ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. I did some last week for the first time in a long time. That was fun.
Yeah. All those bros working on those mirror muscles.
That was me back in the day. So I can't hate on them. I see a lot of me and them.
Yeah, that was me too.
I see a lot of me and them, and I'm like, damn, these people at the gym, because the gym I go to now, same gym I went to in high school. And when in high school, it was like a bodybuilding gym. Like they had trophies everywhere. There was like muscle heads down there getting it. And like me and my 3 rum dum friends, 16-year-olds, walking in, smelling like cigarettes, lifting. I'm like, these dudes probably hated us. Funny story about that too. I was talking to somebody about that. I don't understand this phenomenon. Like all those guys who used to be jacked, I see them now around town, a few of them, they're fat. I don't know how it happened. Like they just gave up on it. And I think they must have still be eating like the calorie intake that they were eating when they were lifting heavy. And now it's like they just drink beer and sad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's probably just getting older, eating the same food, calories.
Yeah.
Intake.
Think you can get away with it.
Yeah. Then especially as we get older, I feel like most of us don't move as much as we used to, like back in our 20s.
Yep. I mean, I do. I'm running around like a crazy man. But anyway, well, you know what, gentlemen? Thank you all for joining us today for the Training Tactics Call. You have 2 hosts who are slightly better looking than Mr. Gabe, that's for sure. And you know, since there's not too many of us here, like Chris and I were talking about some topics that we could do. So we're going to run through some of those. And the first one we can just start off with. And of course, if anybody has any questions, just fire them off. But one thing that came to our mind was training intensity versus like the intention of why you're going to the gym. Because the reason that this came to my mind is I've been asking a few of my guys to send me videos of some of the key lifts that they are doing, and I was watching them do it. And I'm like, yo, man, is that how much you're doing the working sets with, like the weight? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, you can put so much more on that bar. Like you're selling yourself short by those reps. So just talking about that is huge for the progress that you're going to see in the gym. And I'll kick it off to Chris to tailwind off that.
Yeah. The intensity of your workouts for every set, every rep, every working set is so important, especially on this program with 12 weeks. Everyone thinks 12 weeks is a long time. It's not, especially the money you guys are putting into this program. So like making sure the intensity for every workout, every set and rep is very crucial for not only just on this program, but just when you're just working out, just trying to make progress. It doesn't matter what your goals are, if it's building muscle, if it's losing fat, if you're trying to get stronger. Intensity is, I think, one of the probably the number one factors for workout for your workout.
Yeah, and it also plays into like the factor is less is more. I've shifted this focus probably about 18 months ago. I was in the gym before putting in a lot of reps. I would probably say I was probably doing over 40 sets in the gym in a session with that's a lot of reps. And I just wasn't lifting with intensity. Now I literally do a third of that, much heavier. And I've progressed so much more because of that. And even more so than that, like my whole mindset around it as well, you really realize how much more you have in a tank and how much you sell yourself short. And I've seen this on a bunch of lifts that I've done before, because you get stuck in this high repetition where you're not really pushing yourself. So you're like, oh, well, let's say for 315 per squat, you're like, I can't do that for reps. And then you have somebody there, or you yourself are pushing yourself, and then you do it. You're like, oh, wow, I can do that. And it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I'm the same on quality over quantity, just like Alex. I will admit, in my 20s, when I first started as a personal trainer, I thought doing more was better. It's actually not the case. So if you really focus on the quality reps for every single set, you will see really amazing results. When Alex was talking, I was trying to think of like my workouts before my injury, and like when I go work out, I think I only get like it's anywhere from probably like 5 to 7 exercises I do. Doesn't seem like a lot, but I've like the intensity is high every time for those exercises, and of course I do have like years of training, so my body does adapt pretty well. But I'm just saying that me only doing like 5 to 7 exercises for a workout compared to where some guys will, be in there for 2 hours, they probably do, who knows, like 15 exercises. But some of that, being in there for 2 hours will not give you better results than just being in there for an hour. There have been studies that have proven that. And once you overtrain, there is diminishing return. There we go.
I just had to check. I did 6 exercises a day. That's it. 6 exercises, 12 sets. And I'll tell you what, I had a great pump leaving there because each of those exercises, 6 exercises, 2 sets apiece, I pushed to absolute failure every time. I did I'm switching to a push-pull legs for a 12-week cycle. And every exercise is geared towards lower amount of exercises and just heavier reps. So I did I did the chest press today. I did incline press. I did dips. I did overhead dumbbell extensions and things of that nature, dude. And every single one of those last 2 reps, dude, I didn't think I was going to get it. Like that's where I was at every single thing. And I was just lifting with intention. That's it. Took 3-minute break, 3-minute rest break in between every set, dude. Felt like $1 million. Cause I used to be that person who went in there and I was thinking more is better. And then I'd be totally gassed. And the reason that this is another problem as well is because you look into recovery. An old adage was you fuel today's lift from yesterday's nutrition. So essentially saying like how good you ate the night before is going to be how good you train today. And vice versa is how good you slept the night before is how good you're going to be training. I've worked with a few guys before who went to like their sheet, like say they're doing a full body exercise, like any exercise, and they did it 1 week and they did really good. And then they did the same exercise set next week. And they're like, yo, Alex, I couldn't lift nearly the amount of weight I could lift last week. I'm like, well, how's your sleep? How's your nutrition? Like, how are these things? How's your stress levels? And usually they're pretty bad. And that's why they did so good the week before, because everything was dialed in. The next week, life happens. You know what I mean? It kind of spiraled out of control. So having these factors down so that you can properly rest and recover for the next day is so vital.
Do you guys have any questions from what we talked about before we continue?
Yeah, so when I'm lifting to failure, right? But when you look at someone, like you said, Alex, and you're watching their technique, and I don't know if they're lifting to failure or not. I just kind of questioning is like, how do you know when you're intense enough? How do you bump the intensity? How do you get to where you should be? Because if I'm going to the point where I can't lift the weight anymore, then I don't know if it's just a psychological push or what.
So this isn't a topic that we really covered in depth, Jeff, but it's good to note as well. And you know what? That's my fault for not covering this with you more, and a lot of other guys I talked to this about, because like every lift doesn't necessarily have to be to failure. For instance, sometimes you go in there. I always like to target a specific muscle when I go in there. So if it's full body, it'll be like a leg focus full body, or shoulder focus full body. Like I'm in a push pull legs right now, and it's 6 different workouts, and they're labeled like push pull legs A, push pull legs B. And in those, they all have a focus for a specific body part. So what that essentially means is, like, say I'm on a push day today and my focus was chest, and then the next push day is shoulders. Like I want to take those muscles to failure on that specific day. So it's really about putting your intention on those specific muscles. I don't know if that answered it. If you want to go more in depth, we can.
Yeah, I think that's pretty close. It's more, yeah, it has me thinking about whether, what is my failure limit? Is there more psychological effect to it, or is it actually a muscle failure? Like, could I get one more set? And how do you make yourself get to that next set or next route?
Gotcha. I would classify failure as still performing good form, because you could have a bunch of lists where you could take the failure, but then your form's going to start breaking down just in order to get it. An instance I have is I had this problem on incline dumbbell bench press a few weeks ago. So the last few reps I could really get by, oh shoot, sorry, my dog's leash is coming over. I could really get those last reps. But the problem was I was sacrificing my whole entire form, because I had to arch my back literally so bad and do so many things just to get that up there. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't what I constantly do as good form. I think 9 times out of 10, you can push another rep more than you think in most instances, but just keep form at the top of your mind. And that's where like the mind body connection comes in as well, because like when I'm doing that dumbbell incline bench press, and I'm only thinking of that because it's top of mind because I did it today, like I'm so focused on the movement of my chest, like I'm just thinking about that, and that's it. So I think that helps me a lot as well. Just get like in the zone of this is what I'm lifting. Because for instance, today I was doing 90s, and the second set was, I did about 8 by 10. First set I got 10. I'm like, I think I can get 9 or 10 this one. And I had 8, and I was like, okay, and 8 sucked. And I'm like, it sucked, but it didn't suck like I couldn't get another one. And I pushed another one. It was slow. I got it to about halfway on the up rep, and I was just like, oh dude, this is rough. And it was slow, but it was perfect form, and I stayed steady, and I knocked it off. But that's where like the mindset of it all comes in as well, because you know what I mean, and focusing on your breathing and just pushing that sucker up.
Yeah. And I agree with Jacob, what you put in the chat here.
No.
Like the compound lifts. Like if you have a spotter and you feel comfortable with that spotter, I mean, like I'll go to failure, but I would say most of my compound lifts aren't to failure. Just like Jacob was saying. So like barbell squat, barbell bench, especially those, if you don't have a spotter, and those are tough to really go to failure just because, you know, you could pretty much die. So if you don't get the weight up. Also, Jeff, a good rule of thumb is like the secondary movement. So like Jacob said here, doing like bicep curls. That's one of the, I think one of the best exercises you could go to failure with, because it's just isolating your bicep. You're in a safe position typically when you do bicep curls. And when you do, so you could go to failure, and if you want to make sure you're going to failure, is to do partial reps. Like when you can't do that full range of motion anymore, and so you're just doing like partial reps of the curl. That's a really good indicator of you knowing you're going to failure.
Mhm. I love like negative reps for that as well, like bicep curls especially, man, because these little muscles, you can beat the shit out of them. You know, when you're doing that curl and you can't lift that sucker up anymore, if you just use your momentum and pull that up there and do the negative. I forget what guy said that. It was one of those bodybuilders. Jeez. Every time I tell this story, I forget this guy's name, but it's going to bother me. It doesn't matter though, but he was talking about biceps. He's like, every time you reach mechanical failure with the eccentric, he's like, you always have the concentric to go back on. So if you had a lifting partner as well, which you don't since you're lifting at home, but like that could be applied to so many exercises where you could use a spotter to help you get that weight back up there, like say a bench, where he could help you lift it back up and then you just lower it down, because you have so much more potential that way. The only downfall to things of that nature are with the concentric is you tear more muscle fibers, causing you to be sore. So there's a inadvertent effect to it.
Yeah, but those secondary movements are great to go with the failure. Bicep curls, tricep extensions, flies, just as long as, you know, you're not going too far down.
Yeah.
Or I was going to say something. Oh, a good rule of thumb I like to keep is, let's say you do set one and you're like, ah, man, it felt a little light. So a good rule of thumb I use is if you felt like you could do 2 more reps, that's a good indicator to move up in weight.
Yes, sir. Anybody else have any questions on that? If not, we can go to the topic that you said, Chris, because I do really like that topic. I guess not. Let's pivot. Let's pivot to the butt boosters, Chris.
I was okay. Hip thrusts.
Let's do it, baby. Let's do it. Because this is important, regardless if nobody in this room's doing it right now. This is something that we could all implement in the future here, because I'll tell you what, the power, what Chris is about to explain, these suckers are amazing.
Well, yeah, so hip thrusts, I know we don't program them a lot, but they are becoming one of the best exercises for your glutes. Gluteus maximus, gluteus medius. I guess a question is, have you got, Jeff and Martine, have you guys heard of hip thrusts? Have you guys done them before?
I just looked it up real quick and I saw this is the movement that
Probably
I've seen
some
so
chick
many
doing
people-
it.
What?
No, keep going. I'm sorry.
Like, this is the movement that I've seen so many people doing at the gym, and I've been like, what is that? What does that train? Like, should I do that? So this is great that we're talking about it now, because I've seen people do it and I'm like, I want to know more about this.
Yeah.
Alex,
Sorry.
the single leg hip thrust in my follow-up program.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Jack had a video of that. The single leg and like have your foot propped up on the couch for glute bridges.
Yeah.
Those are gnarly.
Yeah. All the variations of hip thrusts are very beneficial from what I've done and from what I see. So hip thrust, of course, is really building the booty. Of course, it's very popular for the female population, just because I feel like most females want a nice backside, a nice peach. But also it is super beneficial for guys to do them, even though I feel like the male population kind of, doesn't really like them, just because, I don't know if it's the exact movement or what, but they are super beneficial to do because they do help build a strong backside. And not only will your backside look good in jeans, trunks, but a strong glute will help you not only with your squat, but also your deadlift. And it will actually help with your posture too. Just because I know a lot of people, they're in that anterior tilt, like where your pelvis moves forward, from sitting and everything. Like I have an anterior tilt. So just posture alone too, it will help. So do you want to say anything?
Yeah, and even more so than that as well. If you're at a job where you're sitting predominantly, your hamstrings and your glutes are just being destroyed by the atrophy that's happening and occurring in that. A lot of back pain issues can be alleviated with simply working the glute a little bit more, doing hip thrusts and variations of that. And I'll talk about a few that I enjoy here in a second. But even more so than that is something that people don't think about often is a lot of pain that they might have. Maybe it's a knee pain, maybe it's a leg pain, maybe it's back pain, maybe it's shoulder pain, whatever it is. Sometimes that's not where the pain started at or where the root cause is. So I like to talk about like hip pain and knee pain specifically, because not too long ago, I realized and learned that a majority of knee pain is actually just quad tightness. And if you just loosen that quad up a bunch, you're going to alleviate your knee. So what's going to basically happen is if you have a weaker glute and you're sitting quite often, you have these pains and aches and pains. That's because the pain is now going and spreading throughout your body because your body has to basically switch its cadence of how it's walking and doing these movements because there's a pain in one area, which is causing that pain to go somewhere else. I've never seen any other guys doing the hip thrusts in the gym. I love to do them. I do them probably every once a week or once every 2 weeks, depending upon if they're in my schedule, which they are right now. I've done them before with a dumbbell. Just grab a dumbbell, put a pad or something over your junk and literally just put it on there and put your back against the bench and do it. Or what I've really been enjoying lately is the Smith's machine on there. Now, not all Smith's machines are created equal, which sucks because the bumper at the bottom, some go really low, some don't. When I was in Florida, for instance, I was going to do hip thrust and the Smith's machine sucked because like the range of motion, it was like this far, very far off the floor and I couldn't properly do a hip thrust. But the one I have at my local gym here goes all the way down to the ground. And I found that's the best just because it has the tracks there. I can load more weight on it and it's just perfect for me. But my deadlifts increase, my squats increase. If you're a runner, your running gait's going to get better. Like all these things are going to improve if you just improve your glute, because when you think about it, that's the base of every foundational lift you're going to do with your legs. And I have no back pain.
Yes. Yeah, with hip thrust, you could do body weight. You could hold a kettlebell. You could hold dumbbell, barbell, Smith machine. They're even making some hip thrust machines. I would be cautious of which one you use though, because some of those hip thrust machines are terrible, but some of them are really good too. So it just depends.
And what I had Jeff doing as well were the glute bridges. You can prop your feet up on your couch or a table or something as well and just put your back on the ground and just either do single leg glute raises or you can do double leg as well. If you have weight, add that. But if not, if you just pound out a few, like 100 reps of those and break it down into 4 or 5 sets, like you're going to feel the burn there and you're going to get some good activation if you've never worked your glutes out before. Specifically targeted, I should say, your glutes, because your glutes are going to be activated in some of the exercises you're going to be doing already.
Yeah. So I think if you do a variation of hip thrusts once, twice a week, but also include some RDLs, if it's double leg RDL, single leg RDLs, get those movements in, because RDL is more of a hip movement, like, a hip hinge, than a hip thrust is more of it's not a hip hinge, but more like, I don't want to say knee dominant, but it's more of a knee extension, I guess, which is good for the glute and hamstring. Work those different variations. So if you just get a mix of variation of the RDLs and glutes, you should have a really nice backside, but also be strong and great posture. And like Alex said, not too many low back pain.
Shabam, anybody got any questions about the hip thrust?
No, all clear. I'm going to start doing them.
Yahtzee. Yeah, they're great, man. I'll tell you what, I've seen nothing but benefits from them with running. Specifically now I've added squat back into my program. I haven't squatted in a long time. And you know, just getting back to the bar and being able to rep out 250 for reps, something I wasn't able to do before. One, because I never really trained legs like a dummy, and two, because I never squatted and I never learned a good form. So really tightening up my form and working on my glutes more have been nothing but benefit for running, back pain, just generally everything, because I sit often for work as well, which is a love-hate thing.
Yeah.
I
You
just
guys
have a comment was I had really bad ankle pain where I couldn't like sidestep for a while there, and I went to a physical therapist, and she says because I had completely lost activation of one of my gluteus medius.
Yeah.
It was causing me ankle pain.
Yep.
And the inability to move the right way. And so yeah, I just want to second on the glutes as being in the chain of causing.
Yeah. Because when you
Yeah.
think about it, when you have your gait, you know what I mean? Your body's going to have to make up for that imbalance in your body. So therefore it's going to run down to your foot because you're walking differently because you don't have that strength in your glute. So these problems really run deep. And if you don't attack the root cause, you're going to have issues with something that has nothing to do, you would think, with your glute.
It was incredible. She gave me one exercise to activate it, and it completely fixed my gait in one. I had to keep doing it for months, but
Yeah.
that was like, holy cow. Yeah.
Was it band walks?
That was one of them. Yeah, but a very similar motion. Yeah, where sort of like leg raises and yeah, that kind of thing. Yep.
Yeah. I could believe that, the gluteus medius, because the gluteus medius actually helps support your knee and ankle. So yeah, they're all connected in some way.
Yes, sir. I like that. Well, gentlemen, those were the two topics that we had that we kind of wanted to riff on. And, you know, for the rest of this call, I'm sure Chris and I can pull something else out of our magic hat here, but I guess it'd be a good time to just open the floor to you guys to see if you have anything that, oh, geez, now the floodgates are opening. Carlos, Vinny, geez, don't let anybody in here. This would be a good time to just open the floor to any questions, comments, concerns that you guys have, any topics that you want us to go off of, anything of that nature. But like I said, if you don't, that's fine as well. We can riff off pretty much anything.
I have one that I really wanted to bring to this call. It's kind of building off of the shoulder injury that I got a few weeks back that is still recovering. Because the thing that I want to ask about it was like, clearly I wasn't really using the right form. I'm pretty sure that what I ended up doing wrong was I was doing a single arm overhead carry, and I watched the video afterwards, and it looked like Joey was just holding the dumbbell like with arms straight up. I was holding it like this because I read overhead carry and I held it over my head. So yeah,
You took
laugh
it
about it
literal.
you want. But so
Hey,
that
sorry,
what?
keep going. I'm sorry. That's the second time I did that to you. I apologize.
Yeah, you keep doing it. No worries. But yeah, the thing that gets me about it now is like I want to use perfect form with every exercise that I do, as I should. But like if I have trouble remembering details, like I don't have the time investment to keep rewatching the videos every single time, you know? And a lot of the time when you're watching a video, it's like, yeah, this is all super obvious. Like I don't need to write anything down for myself. So like, I'm not going to be taking notes, because if I see the video, this looks obvious, but a week later, this might feel obvious. And I wouldn't think to note down that I should keep my arm straight, just as an example, but this could apply to hundreds of movements, just that the specifics kind of get lost. So I was looking for any advice really on like just making sure I keep consistent form and don't get these details wrong anymore.
Yeah, once you start doing the exercises, of course, you know, the form and technique do get there. So with the overhead carry, you just want to make sure that arm is straight. And even though like your arm is overhead, you don't want to be like, you know, shrugging, like have your shoulders towards your ears at all. And for that carry, using like analogies could help too. So the carry, that's kind of like a server, right? A server bringing a tray to the table. So some people actually call these server carries. So that's one way of think about it. Like, well, like if you're a server, like you're not gonna hold the tray over your head, right? You're gonna keep that straight so the tray doesn't move on you. So using analogies could help. But once you do the exercises consecutively each week, I feel like your muscle memory will start to kick in.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing as well to have to reference back to a video. Like I still reference back to videos all the time. Actually, for instance, about 2 weeks ago, I referenced back to a Y raise video, chest supported Y raises, because I wanted to make sure that I was doing them right. Like sometimes that, like I'm taking a rest in between my sets anyway, instead of getting on Twitter, like I'm just going to YouTube real quick, or in your instance, you have the app, which has the video. I'm just going to watch the video real quick just to make sure that I have the form right. And I think it does two things. One, you're making sure you have the form right. And two, it's literally in the front of your mind right after you watch that video. Oh, he did it like this. So I wouldn't say having the reference back is a bad thing. Because again, I've been lifting for a very, very long time. And like, I still reference the videos all the time to get better. I've made so many more of my exercises in the last year better just by watching like videos.
Yeah, it's not that I think there's a shame in rewatching them. It's just that I've already been struggling with, well, not necessarily struggling maybe, but like that I feel like my time investment in the gym was like too much, where it's like always, I'm never under an hour. Whereas like pretty much every tweet from like Jack or Joey that I see about time investment in the gym, they say like that you don't need more than 45 minutes. For me, that's never been true. And I've already been thinking of ways I could cut down on the time. So I'm looking at like higher intensity with lower reps, for instance. But having to keep watching videos just adds to that time investment. And this will also be my last month in the vault. So after this, I won't have the app anymore. So I know that I can just go on YouTube to look up videos, but it will add to that time investment even more. So I'm just kind of looking for ways to minimize it so I don't feel forced to have to do it several times every time I go there.
Yeah, if you have time before your workouts, that's a good time to watch the videos, like before you even start the workout. Like so you can look at your workout and say like, and you're like, maybe you're good, like, oh, I'm good on that. I have good form on that exercise. Then you're like, you know what? I'm still not too sure about this exercise. So you watch it. So you watch the videos. So all the forms you have questions about, I would watch, if you have time, definitely watch those videos before you even start the workout.
Yeah, that might go a ways to helping.
Let's see. Martin, were we able to answer your question? Or do you want to still go on?
Yeah, I mean, if there's any more advice that comes to mind, I'd love to hear it. But if not, then watching the videos beforehand is something already, or the analogies that you said. And maybe I should also just focus on fewer exercises every time. Just making sure I don't do too many exercises, that the time investment problem doesn't feel as bad.
How many exercises are you doing right now in the gym? Like how many sets would you say about?
Yeah, I mean, today was the first time that I just kind of did it independently with stuff that I wanted to do. But I mean, with the program exercises that I've been used to for several months, it's always like 8 or 9 different exercises with either 2 or usually 3 reps. So it's definitely like between 24 to 30-ish reps in all. No, not reps, sets.
Got you. Yeah. Easy to tighten that up a little bit. You know what I mean? If you just take I don't know if you're like me and on your phone at the gym, something I've been a little more adamant about the past 2 weeks, just making sure I'm staying really tight with my zones. Cause like you, I was in the gym for like an hour and a half, and mainly because I'm on my phone too much. I'm shooting the shit with somebody in the gym. Like I'm just messing around, having a good time. I just enjoy it there. But since I've done that, like I crushed this lift out today in less than an hour, like far less than an hour, probably about 45 minutes, just because I stayed exact with my rest times. I didn't mess around. Like I was in there to lift and that was it. So I don't know what your situation looks like, or maybe you're on your phone or anything, or if you're just fully involved in the lifts, but always looking about your extracurriculars or what you're doing around the gym as well will help in just tightening up that time. I always recommend a timer for guys. That's why I love this Garmin watch. I set it to a strength training session, and it'll tell me how long I was doing my set for. It'll tell me how long I'm resting for. And I always know, bam, it's time to get back to work because it's been 3 minutes. I do 3-minute rest, one, because I'm lifting a lot heavier right now. And I just want to get the most out of my lifts because I'm not lifting with that many sets. So I have to make every set count. Therefore, I like to rest adequately between each set.
Yeah. Today I wasn't really using a timer, so would probably be more efficient if I did.
Do you have like a smartwatch or anything? Even your phone? If
Yeah, I
not,
can use my phone. I got a very cheap, like I kind of got it as a gift, like a cheap fitnessy watch that I still haven't used. Need
yeah,
to try that thing out.
anything that you can just time your rest times with, anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes, depending upon what the exercise is. If it's a heavy compound lift, you definitely want to try to take 2 to 3 minutes at least. Accessory exercise, you could probably get away with a little less, but again, the more you rest, the more you're going to be ready to tackle that next set.
Yeah, very true.
Also, if you have time, you know, at night or just any time in the day, just doing like the body weight movement of the exercise. Like if let's say your shoulder press, you're not quite sure on the form, but if you just do the movement with no weight, just really lock in on that muscle contraction, I think that will also help when you're in the gym on your form with when you're doing with actual weight.
And Tom has a good question as well. Tom's asking about how to strengthen your wrists. They seem to be the weak link for me right now. I'm not sure if it's both wrists or not. I'm going to assume so because you said plural. Something I love to do for those, 2 different things. One, dead hangs. Love dead hangs for so many different reasons. That's going to improve your grip strength and your hand mobility, and then doing various stretches as well. But you could also do a thing where you put your forearms on a bench and put your dumbbells in your hands and do like this movement. That'll help some mobility as well. But there's a bunch of various stretches. Some of my favorite here, and this helps to really open up this muscle that runs kind of vertical to your wrist if your arm was straight like that. And that's literally just taking your hands like this, poking your thumb in there and going forward like this. A lot of it comes down to tension, the things we hold throughout the day. One thing I've noticed about my wrist, it's always the right one. The right one is because I hold my big cell phone in my right hand all the time. I had a lot of issues with my hand, and I talked to a chiropractor friend of mine. He's like, yeah, I bet you hold your phone with that hand, don't you? He's like, yes, I do. He's like, yeah, try not to do that as much and see what happens. And I did that, and bam, that was a big problem relieved.
Yeah, I agree with Alex doing wrist extension, wrist flexion. You could even do it's called supination, pronation, but you just hold a dumbbell, or you could even hold a golf club, broomstick, hammer, and you just rotate. You could just rotate your hands side to side, and that will help strengthen your forearm muscles. Doing dead hangs. If you want to work on grip strength, I don't do it all the time, but I like if I'm doing something on a bench, like let's say I'm doing barbell bench press, during my rest period, I will grip the pad, like the edge of the padding, and I'll just grip for like 5 seconds, relax, then grip again for another 5 seconds. So that also helps with grip strength. Or plate pinch, like putting 2 plates together and holding them. But yeah, that was a great question.
That was a great question. That's a weak link for a lot of like compound lifts I was doing as well, is really figuring that out, because things such as barbell overhead press, bench press, even dumbbell variations of presses, having your wrist in the proper position, and even more so than that, having a strengthened wrist is really going to improve those lifts. Because similarly to some of the back exercises you do and other various exercises where your grip strength will give out before your targeted muscle will, sometimes when you do these movements where it requires good grip strength and healthy wrists, you're really selling yourself short and the target muscle that you're targeting by not having those where they need to be. So performing various stretches, things such as Chris said, things such as I said. You even get a little thing if you work at a desk all the time, those little squeezy things where you can work on your grip strength and really just get your hand movement in that motion and just strengthening it. Because a lot of it comes down to atrophy and not having the muscles there in order to support the load.
And yes, when you are doing your pressing movements, really make sure your wrist isn't bent. Try to keep it as straight as possible.
Mhm.
Even, I don't care how much weight you have on there, keep that wrist as straight as you can.
Shazam.
Anybody else have any other questions?
I don't have any questions, but I have a statement. Get your sun today, boys. If it's sunny out, it's beautiful. Gonna get off this call and take my dog on a shirtless walk. Always met with weird looks and old ladies waving at me like I know them, and I don't.
Can I get your digits?
I don't know. This- I don't know. You know, when I bartended all the time, the other people hated to deal with the older ladies. I love them. They're great. They're wonderful people. What I called my bread and butter.
Yeah, I'm sure they tipped you very well.
They did
Young
Yeah.
stallion.
on their husband's Amex. Oh well. What are you gonna do? Vinny, what's up, brother? Tell us how Ironman training's going since you posted that pic of swimming in the reservoir yesterday. How cold was that sucker?
What's up? Yeah, it was cold, man. That was my first open water swim, and first lap around, I was like, I don't know if I could do this. Like, it's very different than the pool, but the more I kept going, like, it definitely, like, I got the hang of it. But when I first jumped in that water, like, I think it was just a combination of, like, they say, like, when you get in open water, like, a lot of people freak out, like that's their failure point. You can't, like, see underwater. I mean, depending where you are, I couldn't. So, like, that was throwing me off. It was, like, so cold. You got all these people around you. So I was like a fish out of water at first, but then, like, as I kept going, like, I got the hang of it. But yeah, it was good. It was fun. Took me like an hour. I did just about a mile.
Nice, man. That's freaking amazing. Did you have a wetsuit on?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that helped a lot too. Those
probably-
make a big difference. Keep you nice and buoyant.
Without a doubt, man. That's amazing, dude. I love to see that. I had a gentleman I talked to a few weeks ago who jumped in a reservoir in the middle of winter here. And dude, of course it's not the winter where you're at now. So the water's a pinch warmer, but he did it when it was cold as shit, dude. He's like, that was the biggest eye opener I've ever got in my life. He planned on doing around a mile because he was in Ironman training as well. I think he said he did a quarter of a mile. I was like, nope. Dang. Open water's scary though, man. It scares the shit out of me.
It is scary. Yeah. I was talking to a guy there who he's done a couple Ironmans. He said he did the one in Florida that I was originally going to do. I switched to Colorado. And that one's out in the ocean. He was like, oh yeah, you get out there, you look below you, there's sharks swimming around. There's like huge jellyfish everywhere, like the big jellyfish. I was like, oh, I'm glad I did not do that one.
I walk like 5 feet in the ocean and some like piece of debris hits my toe and I'm damn, get out of there, man. I'm out. No, I'm just not a fan, man. I'm not a fan of not being able to see what's touching me. And that's what you just illustrated there. You can't see it. I'm like, that's a breaking point.
Yeah, I did not like it. It made me think of, I don't know if you guys have seen Lord of the Rings, but when Frodo like falls in that swamp and it's like super green and the ghosts are like reaching up, that's what I felt like. I was just waiting for like
geez.
to grab me.
Was that the thought that was going through your mind too?
Yeah, I was like, this is it. I'm getting sucked under by something. Like,
Yeah, it's taking me under, man. The Loch Ness monster. It's gonna ask you for 350. Any South Park fans in here? I'm gonna need about 350. Ah, yes. Got about 10 minutes left, gents, if anybody else has anything.
I was just trying to do the thumb thing, and it's like my arm hurts. Like I don't know if that's
Oh,
just
feels so
very
good though,
tight
doesn't it?
muscle.
Oh yeah, probably is, man. Think about the last time you stretch your forearms and think about how much you use your hands every day and everything. Um, I put so much premise for a long time now on just, always throughout the day stretching my wrists like this, like that, whether it be pushing that back just to get the mobility there, man, because they're always so tight. And that's probably because like I'm doing 3 minutes of dead hangs a day. You know what I mean? Not 3 minutes, one set, but like throughout the day, I'm at least doing 3+ minutes of dead hangs. So that always really gets my forearms really stiff.
Yeah, what do you do like with the dead hangs? Do you just try and hang as long as you can, or are you doing like 30 seconds? Like what's the sweet spot?
Usually about 30-second clips. Sometimes I'll go longer. Sometimes I go one-handed too to really stretch like my lat out a lot because you can really feel it after that. It took me a long time to be able to hold that. Like I can hold a single dead hang for probably like 45 seconds now. But it took a long time to get there because there's a time where I could do it for 5 seconds, like, ugh. And just by progressively doing it more and more, dude, my grip strength is just so on point now. And I tackle that metric. I go to a local grocery store that I used to work at in high school here, and the butcher there, dude, he has the strongest handshake I've ever had in my life. Like that guy will take you for a ride with him. And I shake his hand now. I'm like, I'm at par with this guy. And I don't know if it's because he's older now or if I'm stronger, but I prefer the latter and thinking I'm stronger now. And like, I hold a bone to him. He actually commented on that. He's like, your handshake's getting good. I'm like, yes, it is. You knew me when I was 16, brother. Of course I didn't have good grip strength.
Oh my God.
They're great though, man. I love them. And grip strength correlates to all major lifts in the gym. And even more so than that, I listen to Peter Attia. I know there's some Peter Attia fans in here. I think Jeff and I have talked about this before. One of his markers for longevity is grip strength. Very easy metric, has all his patients come in there and see how long they can hang. So why not improve it?
When you want to get into single arm dead hangs, do you like grab the bar with one hand and try to lift your legs up, or do you grab it with 2 arms and then let go with 1 arm? What's the preferred way?
Whatever is preferable to you. Usually how I do it is I start with a double dead hang and I just let one hand go really, really slow. Because if you let it go fast, you're going to start swinging. And I don't really like to swing. I feel like that distributes the weight all weird. So what I do is I just ever so slightly let go with one hand. And like, I try to really control that swing and just like stabilize myself. And I'll hang there. And then I'll just reach my hand up and I'll grab the other bar like a monkey and I'll let the other one go really slow. And that's it. That's the success I found. Because again, when I let go too far, you just distribute your weight and it's going from your pinky to your pointer and it's just all weird.
Got it.
And the pull-up bar I do it on is it has some height on it too. So I kind of have to do a little hop to get up there, unless I probably would just grab onto it, but I never had that issue.
Hey, Alex, quick question. When you do the dead hangs, do you incorporate leg raises or just focus on the dead hang?
I just focus on the dead hangs, although I love leg raises. They're amazing.
Got it.
I've tried to do that before, Carlos, and I found that the fatigue of the dead hang like totally just disrupts the whole leg raise. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because you're so fatigued from doing the dead hang. Now you're trying to do leg raises. So I found more success by separating them and be like, all right, this is dead hang time versus this is leg raise time.
All right, man. Good to know.
And also neutral grip is the easiest, then underhand, then overhand.
And hang this way.
Yeah, so like a neutral grip, like those sometimes they'll have like the parallel bars. So I think that's the easiest way to hang. Then underhand, then the most difficult overhand.
Is there
Underhand feels like my biceps gonna blow up in a good way.
a difference for your physiology? Like, is it stretching a different part of the shoulder between those?
It can. But I know with like if people had like really bad shoulder injuries in the past, I feel like the neutral grip position has been the best position for them compared to overhand or underhand. But if you feel like overhand, you just can't hold on, but you want to hit a certain like 15 seconds, or neutral grip is probably the best way to go to start.
I
And,
find
and Chris, do you? Sorry, go ahead.
I find with like the underhand pull-ups and stuff, it irritates, like, I don't know, the other side of your elbow if there's like a tendon here or something, but it always seems to like tweak whatever's there. But I like when I do the neutral or like overhand, I'm fine. Like, I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah, underhand could be more bicep. And also the closer your hands are, it's going to be more, the biceps are going to be more involved. So the wider you go, it's going to be more your back.
When I do the underhand, I go in there with the intention of this is a bicep exercise. And a lot of that comes down to how I station my hands and how I'm pulling my weight. Of course, it's still a back exercise, but some of I don't know if you guys are a fan of Mind Pump, the podcast. I like that podcast. I listen to them a lot. And they're talking about male gymnasts. Like, you ever see a male gymnast? They got like these huge ass arms, like they're freaking yoked. And he's like, yo, what are you guys doing for biceps? Or like chin ups. And ever since then, that was like a year ago, I've been doing them religiously as a bicep exercise, and just putting my hands a little bit closer and just focusing on like squeezing that rep at the top, man. And I've never experienced that pain that you're explaining. And that could be just that the muscle isn't there yet to form. You know what I mean? You just haven't targeted that specific spot. And if you gained a little more strength, maybe the irritation wouldn't be there. But that's could be incorrect. But that's just where the first thought of my mind went.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Actually did a program back in the day where it was a pull up. So it wasn't a chin up, but it was the space was the 2 thumb lengths. And you just try to do as many pull-ups as you can. And
Ooh.
oh my God, dude, my biceps were on fire. But it was
Yeah.
a superset. So we did that. I don't remember. It was like 6 to 8 reps. And then we went into a superset with dumbbell curls, just like doing curls. It was like doing that for like 3 to 4 sets. I was like, probably was one of the best bicep pumps I had.
Yeah, I bet. That sounds gnarly. Ugh. If I'm always feeling frisky sometimes, a bicep exercise I like is to grab the rope attachments for the cable and put it all the way up and start at 80 pounds or whatever you want to. And you literally just grab it and you hold it, you lay down on the ground flat, shoulders against the ground, and you literally just do curls with that. And you walk that all the way down to 10 pounds. 10 reps each down, all the way down, 10, 10, 10, 10. It's 80 reps in total, man. Oh, you can't move your arms afterwards.
Yeah, Carlos. I feel like with the neutral grip position is like the best for shoulder injuries from my experience.
Carlos, I'm also about to send you a video that got me into dead hanging. I think I may have sent it to you, but I'll send it to you again just so you can watch. It's a short 10-minute video. These physical therapists online, I don't know how they have so many followers. They're old fellers, but they're really interesting. So that's probably why. Kind of funny. You ever hear of them? Chris, Bob and Brad.
Bob and Brad? I have not.
They got
I've watched them.
they got 4.7 million followers on YouTube, man. Just some old fellas from like Wisconsin or something. They have that twang to their voice like Judah.
Oh, gee.
You know that
They've been
twang that
for like 10 years.
you know that twang that those fellas get up north up there. Yeah, we're going to Wisconsin.
Yeah, neutral grip pull-ups, neutral grip shoulder press too are really good for shoulder injuries. Pass.
Dun, 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 dun. Carlos, I just sent that to you. Shazam.
Appreciate it, man. Did you say neutral grip pull-ups, Chris?
Yeah, so if your gym or your barbell has those parallel bars, those are
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good. Yeah, neutral grip pull-ups, chin-ups, whatever you want to call them.
Sounds good, man. Thank you.
Mm-mm-mm. Hell yeah. Well, good stuff, gentlemen. It's been a fantastic call.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody got any closing remarks before we all depart and enjoy the rest of our Tuesday?
I got about 150 push-ups
Got
to take care of. So
Bam, there we go. 150 push-ups. It's all uphill from there, brother.
yeah.
I just find getting them out of the way. I got 100 down. Now that it reminds me, I got 100 more to go. So I might stop at the little outdoor fitness park on my dog walk on the way home and pound them out there.
Yeah, I ended up doing a challenge, the 100 push-up challenge for my team.
Did ya?
Yeah, I've started today.
Yahtzee.
Yeah, I didn't realize you guys were doing 200 though. I always wanted.
I figured, like, I don't know. I was just like, you know what, 100's fun. Like, that's a challenge. But I was like, let's pump these guys up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're all talking about challenges. I'm like, 100 sucks for most people. You know what I mean? But like, 200 really sucks. So let's really suck.
Yeah.
And even if you don't hit it, you know what I mean? It's all in the challenge of getting there and getting better. I forget who said it to me. One of the guys in there was like, yo, man, I can't do 200. I was like, and he actually said it before I could even explain it. He's like, you know, I can't do 200, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 100 and see how many I can get over that. And then just try to improve. I'm like, shabam. That's it, brother. That's it.
Oh yeah. Yep, we just started today. 100 push-ups a day.
Hell yeah, brother. You love to hear it. Love
Yeah,
push-ups. They're amazing. So easy. Can do them anywhere.
yeah, and I could do them with one leg up. So
Yahtzee. Bam. There you go.
I always like to be a part of the challenge. So
Gotta. There you go. You found something there.
yeah.
Well, good stuff, brother. Well, hey, I'm going to take my doggy for a walk and I hope all you gentlemen have a fantastic day.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Deal.
You guys have a great day.
Everybody.